Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. As I shared on Instagram, this week I have a much requested handwriting video, and this one is going to focus mainly on my regular print writing. There's also a free PDF worksheet that I made, and you can find it in the description bar below. So firstly, I'm going to go over some general handwriting tips and advice. Then I am going to do a writing sample, as well as explain to you my personal handwriting style. And then number 3, I am just going to roll a bunch of clips of just me writing, and you can practice with me, I guess. A preface point that I want to make is that your handwriting is beautiful and is unique to you. I don't think anyone should try to copy my writing or anyone else's writing, but rather just experiment with the techniques that I use and improve your own. And if you try to force your writing to look like someone else's natural writing, it'll be more likely that you'll just get frustrated and completely give up. So yeah, just take things slow and focus on improving rather than copying. So moving on to the tips, the first one that I have is to pick a consistent pen and paper to use. At least for me, handwriting changes with every pen. Here in this video, you can see that I'm using the exact same pen, the Pentel Energel Clena, which is my favorite gel pen, but one is 0.5 millimeters and the other one is 0.4 millimeters. And just a small variance changes the feeling while I write quite a bit. And I also did some samples with other pens, and each one just feels and looks very different. So if you are set on practicing your handwriting, I would just pick one pen to practice with so your muscles aren't relearning how to hold a pen each time you write. My next tip is to focus on improving 1 or 2 letters at a time. A lot of handwriting is just muscle memory, so it's kind of ambitious to attempt to change all 26 letters of the alphabet at once, and this is where you can perhaps look at my writing sample, and for example, if you like how I write the letter R, you can commit to just mindfully changing or adjusting how you write the letter R until you are used to it. And of course, you can do this with any font or anyone's handwriting that you admire. Just try to pinpoint which specific letters you like about it and implement it into your daily writing. And as you improve upon more and more letters, you will slowly see a very big difference. I also want to show you what my handwriting looked like 5 years ago when I first started Instagram. It looks like it was written by a completely different person. So yeah, I've made quite a bit of progress. The next tip that I have might seem a little contradictory since I'm offering a PDF worksheet anyways, but I recommend not to solely rely on worksheets or workbooks to improve your handwriting. Just practicing letters is great. With worksheets, you can practice getting your hands used to drawing the strokes, but it's even better in my opinion if you're able to apply the things you're learning to real words and sentences. So I encourage you not to only mindfully practice when you whip out your worksheets, but rather do so whenever you're writing anything throughout the day that is more practical. And then my last advice for you is to be realistic with speed. Like for me, I know my handwriting can be much neater if I spent a few seconds perfecting every letter of a word, but that is just not feasible. So yeah, I encourage you to develop a neat handwriting that is actually feasible and practical for daily use. I inserted some clips of my extremely messy writing, and so you can see that it's not always this neat, and there's always that trade-off between speed and neatness. And if you are like me who values speed and efficiency, especially as a student, I need to write as quickly as possible, then don't be discouraged if your writing isn't as neat and pretty as someone who spends a whole minute on a single sentence. And on the flip side, if you have the luxury of time, then you can spend a while longer perfecting your writing, and don't be discouraged if it takes you longer to write something that you are proud of. Okay, so moving on to the writing samples, I am doing the entire alphabet in my normal printing. Now, because this is a handwriting video that I am making regarding my personal style, I do want to explain to you some aesthetic choices that I personally make that you may or may not find appealing, but I think think they are integral to how my handwriting looks. So when I write words, I like to keep the difference between the cap height and the X height as minimal as possible. In other words, I like to write my uppercase letters to be around the same height as my lowercase letters. And same goes for the descender height for letters like G, J, Y, etc., where I keep the distance minimal, if that makes any sense. So I just really like the uniform look of a vertically compact style. The other aesthetic choice I make when I am writing informally, either in my planner or in my school notes, is override grammar rules and mix uppercase and lowercase letters. Now, this one is really hard to explain because my brain makes this aesthetic choice to switch instantaneously, and I can't quite put into words why I feel like certain capital letters look better in place of lowercase letters in only a few words. So I'm not so much giving you this as advice. In fact, it is a terrible tip for grammar to do this, but I just want to explain the reason for why in my planner you may see me, for example, using an uppercase E in the middle of a word, but sometimes not, and I stick to a lowercase e. It's really bizarre, and I'm fully aware of that, and it definitely will not suit a lot of people's styles, but I also think that is another characteristic of my handwriting that is a little bit more unique. And for the final part of the video, I have several clips of me writing a paragraph or two from a novel. This one that I'm referencing is from 1984, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this book anyways. This is all real time, so you can see how fast I generally write. For school notes, I write a little bit faster than this, but this is the speed I use when I write in my planner. I also included a zoomed out shot so you can see how I hold my pen, if that helps you at all. The way I hold my pen, I have my middle finger as a rest, my index finger as kind of like a stabilizer on top of the pen, and my thumb kind of counters the force of my two other fingers. It sounds kind of weird, but you can see it from the video. And I find that this way I get the most control and I'm able to write a little bit smaller. Now, disclaimer, this is probably not the proper way to hold a pen, but I don't really know what the proper way is anyways, so yeah. That wraps up everything that I have to say. I am just going to turn on the volume of the music and you can watch or practice with me. As I mentioned, there is a PDF link down below, and if you happen to use it, I would love to see what it looks like. You can post it in our Facebook group or on Instagram. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye!